Hey, how's it going? It's FamKam, and I hope you all are enjoying the very first annual TingleCon. I'm taking a break from co-hosting duties to give you a little background of mine for ASMR. If you follow my channel on YouTube or follow me on Twitch, you know that I have a huge passion for gaming. And a lot of that passion is integrated into my ASMR. But it's not just because I love gaming and I love ASMR. But being a gamer led me into ASMR. And I personally believe that ASMR gaming is very, very underrated, even though gaming itself is very popular in the ASMR community. One of the reasons why I started my channel is because I wanted there to be more ASMR gameplay videos, ASMR Let's Plays, if you will. Because I love Let's Plays, but I also love to chill, and I want more of both. In fact, oftentimes when I'm gaming late at night and I'm playing a relaxing game, I fall asleep while playing. So if I'm playing online, my opponents really appreciate that. But I'm going to give you my backstory in gaming and lead up to how it got me into ASMR. Let's go all the way back to 1993. My grandpa and I played Pong a lot before he passed away the next year, unfortunately. He was really good. I think I beat him like twice, ever. And then about a year later, in first grade, I met a friend who was a huge fan of Mario. He invited me over to play Super Mario World on his Super Nintendo. And he beat every level that he entered, and I died in every level I entered. At one point, he even ran up to me, shook my shoulders, and was like, "I won, you died." Oh, gotta love the first grade. I'll never forget that. It was hilarious. And because I was super competitive in those days, still kind of competitive now, but nothing like how I was when I was a kid. I mean, I think almost all of us can relate to that. But because I was super competitive, I wanted to get a Super Nintendo on my own. I mean, also because I really enjoyed playing. But I also wanted to own my own so I can practice and get good. And a half a year later, my parents got me this bad boy right here. Changed my life. Picked this up in March of 1995. Super Nintendo had like a year left in its lifetime before the N64 came out. But this thing still stuck with me in value for years. Even to this day, I still play this thing. But, of course, to me, probably because of my age, the 16-bit era was the golden age of gaming for me. So a couple years later, actually a year later, the N64 came out, and then a year after that, I ended up getting one. I wanted Mario Kart 64 to be my first N64 game, because I played that at friends' houses and always had a blast. But when my mom picked this up, Mario Kart 64 was all sold out, so she picked up Super Mario 64 instead, which is a great game too. It's still one of my favorites. The controls are kind of awkward. I mean, it's on the N64 controller, and the N64 controller kind of sucks. But still a fun, classic 3D platformer. Very revolutionary for its time. When I first saw the N64 and played Super Mario 64 at Target, I thought it was claymation. I'm not kidding. But this is the console that got me heavily into gaming. The Super Nintendo made me a gamer, but you could say that this made me a hardcore gamer. This is the first console that I had a large amount of games for. I mean, I had this like throughout its life cycle, whereas the Super Nintendo I've only had for like a year before its successor came out, like I said before. The GameCube. In my opinion, Nintendo's most underrated console. It's not one of my favorites, but I still love it. It has a very unique look, and one thing that I really loved about the GameCube is the fact that I wanted a Dreamcast. The GameCube, to me, had a very similar vibe to the Dreamcast. It was essentially Nintendo's Dreamcast, but it had mini discs. It had mini DVDs instead of full-size discs. And that was a burden for the GameCube because storage was limited on those things compared to the bigger discs, which means a lot of game developers could not develop their games for the GameCube unless they compressed it like crazy and made their games basically anemic. So that's why a lot of third-party games made it to the PS2 and Xbox and not GameCube, because there were so many limitations due to the small discs. But having a GameCube made me miss the idea of having a Dreamcast less. And the reason for that is because every game I wanted on the Dreamcast at the time ended up on this platform. Particularly the Sonic Adventure games. Both of them ended up on GameCube. And the GameCube versions are even better. Particularly the first one. It had improved graphics. And I think there were a lot of bug fixes too, because I didn't notice a lot of those glitches on the GameCube version, but when I played through the Dreamcast version after getting that Dreamcast, I got so frustrated. For the next generation, we have the Wii. This thing was a revolution for its time. I personally don't think it aged very well, but nevertheless, it left a good mark in gaming history. It was a time when everyone and their mother was sold on the motion controls. And I was one of them. I was blown away by the idea at the time. Of course, I would have picked this up anyway because I always get the Nintendo consoles because I never want to miss out on the Mario or Zelda games. Although the successor the Wii, which is the Wii U, which we'll get into in a bit, was from a generation that I was originally going to skip. And of course, the Wii U. Essentially a beefier Wii. It's high definition. And like I said, I was going to skip this generation of gaming here. But what made me change my mind was Super Mario Maker. It was a dream of mine from elementary school, going all the way back to the beginning of my Mario playing days. I always wanted to make Mario levels. I used to draw on paper at restaurants my own Mario levels when I was 8 and 9. But now I could actually make my own levels. Eventually, I decided I wanted to make Let's Plays too. So I started that channel. Did it for a couple years, off and on. Like I said, for fun, nothing serious. Nothing like what I'm doing with ASMR. But my first video, because it was a Nintendo game, at the time Nintendo was very adamant about using their IPs, and they would copyright claim your videos. Not give you a copyright strike and have you take it down, but it was a content ID claim where if your video is monetized, they get all your money. Actually, I think they made you monetize and get your earnings. Thankfully, they reversed that at the end of 2018, where now you can play Nintendo games without any problems. Because most of my gaming outside of PC gaming is Nintendo, even to this day, because that's my roots, and I'm kind of known to stick to my roots. But I play other stuff too. I absolutely admire PlayStation and Xbox. I'm a huge Halo fan, and I'm really excited for that to come to PC. So what does all this have to do with ASMR and how I got into it? Well, I'll tell you. After I got that content ID claim on my first Let's Play, I searched on YouTube what was up with Nintendo making these content ID claims. And I came across a video from a channel that I highly recommend if you're into tech and gaming at all, called Review Tech USA. That's the channel that got me into ASMR. But the first video I saw of his was when he talked about a fan-made level, a remake of the first level of Super Mario 64, Bob-omb Battlefield, and Nintendo took it down through copyright. And he had a whole rant about it. It was very serious, but also pretty funny. He's a funny guy, but also makes really good points. And if you like things to be funny, but also serious, Rich of Review Tech USA is your guy. Now, he is a fan of ASMR. He worked a night shift at a gym in 2012, and it gave him very bad anxiety. And one night he searched on YouTube soft spoken and came across gentle whispering. And after seeing Maria's videos, he became a huge addict of ASMR. Now, on his channel, he's done 2 ASMR videos of his own. One of them was a whispered video where he was reading a 1990 Sears catalog. And the other was a soft-spoken unboxing of this bad boy right here, the NES Classic Edition. And in that video, in the beginning, he explained that ASMR videos are meant to relax you, and that even though he doesn't get tingles from them, like I almost don't, I rarely get tingles. I get them sometimes, but very rarely. But he doesn't get tingles from them ever. He watches them to help him sleep at night. And as soon as I heard those words, they put him to sleep, I was instantly curious as hell. I had to look this up. So I searched for ASMR videos. And the first video I came across was an unboxing of the Nintendo Switch. This bad boy right here. Done by Maple ASMR. Actually, I think that might have come up as a suggestion. I'm not sure. It was one of the two. But that was the first video that I saw from a full-blown ASMR artist. And then after that, in the suggestions, ASMR Darling's gameplay of Breath of the Wild, where she played side quests, came up, and I watched that too. But the first ASMR video I saw that was not gaming related was from GB. It was a video with music that was black and white. And after all that, I became super hooked with ASMR because it was relaxing me a lot, and I was actually getting sleep because for so many years I've dealt with horrible insomnia and had so many sleepless nights, or near sleepless nights, where I get like 1 to 3 hours of sleep at the most. Now I actually can sleep. And of course, because gaming and ASMR are two great passions of mine, I like to combine the two a lot, which is why on a typical month I put up 2 ASMR Let's Plays on my channel. Because I want to see that happen more often in the gaming community. The ASMR nerd is very focused on gaming and tech in ASMR, and I absolutely love that. Then there's also ASMR Gaming News that is all about that too. But that is all for my story with gaming and how it led to ASMR. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of TingleCon. Stay chill.